guys, sorry, adjust my chair. I'm gonna another video of me whining on about this engine. It's crankshaft day. All my parts are here finally. I'm gonna do this video in several stages, just so it's not a 2 hour long video. So each stage I'll go through, just for anybody that's interested. The only thing I might not go into great detail with this particular engine is fitting the camshaft and the engine timing. I've done a video, if you look at my videos, there's a video there, it's about an hour long, just over an hour long, on fitting the camshaft and the engine timing and everything. I mean, if you want to see it again, if you want me to do it again, let me know and I'll redo it all. But yeah, I went into quite some detail on timing the engines up and trying to get it perfect, as perfect as you can with these engines anyway. But yeah, there's no special tools really needed in fitting most parts of these engines. There's nothing tricky about them. There's nothing complicated at all. It's just nuts and bolts. You just need, what do you need? Feeler gauge, to check piston ring gaps, that's quite important. Brake cleaner is always important. And I'm going to use some, when I find where I put it, there we go, engine assembly lube. Now, people swear by it and they will use it on every single engine they ever build. Some people say you don't really need it, but it all depends what you're doing. If you're going to build your engine and it's likely to be sat doing nothing before it gets started, like this one might be sat for a week or two before it actually gets fired up, because I'm going to put it in the chassis when I try and start it. So I'll use that because it's a lot thicker and it clings, so there's going to be lubricant there on the bearings and stuff like that. If you're going to build your engine and literally fire it up the same day, then just use engine oil. Because the problem is engine oil's a lot thinner, so it runs off. If you're sat there, if your engine's sat there for a week, you've got engine oil on your bearings or what have you, it will sort of drip off and leak off. And then when you go to start it, it's dry, and you've got to get the oil pressure up for it. You know what I mean? When you're trying to bed in new rings and stuff like that, it's not ideal. So yeah, if it's going to be sat for any length of time before you fire it up, use assembly lube. You need a good lubricant. Yeah, torque wrench, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I might even get around to fitting the pistons in this video. I'll see how I go for time. You can, if you've got everything sat there ready to go, you can build one of these engines in a day, no problem. Once you've done a few, you know what I mean. It's simple. So like I said, there's nothing to be scared of it. I've got it on the stand. For now, I'm going to build the bottom end up on the stand, and then I shall, once all that's built, I'll fit it in the chassis before I put the head on. And obviously you can't time it on the stand, because you need the flywheel and everything on there to do the timing. So I'll build the bottom end on the stand. I'll take it off there, put it on my trolley to do the timing, because it's just easier to do it on the trolley than what it is doing it in the chassis. Wheel it out there, so I'll put it on the trolley to wheel it out there anyway. Put it in the chassis and then put the head on, because otherwise when you're trying to torque the head bolts down, so I think it's 94 pounds a newton meters, I'll double check it in a minute. I've done loads of them, I can never remember, I always have to double check it. What was I saying? Yeah, trying to torque it down whilst chasing the trolley around the garage, it's less than ideal. So yeah, I'd always. Plus as well, it's lighter without the head on. The head's a heavy chunk of metal, so it's a lot lighter and easier to manoeuvre about and get it in there before it's on Yeah, what else was I going to say? Yeah, I'll just a slight disclaimer really. I'm not the best person, like I says, I always forget torque specs and all that, like I always have to double check them. Just because I've said torque something up to a certain amount, double check, get yourself a manual, double check. Engines are different. I know a lot of things with the 2.25 diesel and petrol engines are pretty much generic and all that lot, but it's not guaranteed. So yeah, get yourself a manual with a list of torque specs and go off of that, not necessarily what I say, because I'm a sod for getting numbers mixed up. What else was I going to say? Look Creations, guy on YouTube, I never got his name, pointed out, so one of the earlier videos I was it these ones? I think it's called sorry, I pressed the button on my clicker thing there. The thing never works when you want it to. I should be more prepared. Yeah, that's the one. The bearings, I'll get you in there somewhere. So I'll get you in. I had a complete brain fart and I can't get it into focus, but it says on there anyway 010 US, and I could not think what US meant. All I could think was it's an oversized bearing, but it's not. Well, it is. The US stands for undersized. It's an undersized crank, an oversized bearing. And I just can't, my brain just farted and I couldn't think what I was doing. But yeah, thanks for that, pointing that out to me and setting me straight on. I'll give, if you're building a Land Rover and you've got some bulkhead work to do, go and give his channel a look, because he's doing the bravest bulkhead repair I've ever seen. For a guy that's also learning to work, he admitted himself he's not got much welding experience, so he's learning how to weld and basically fabricating himself a bulkhead from scratch. He's got bigger cojones than I have. Yeah, good luck, all the best to the guy. Yeah, well worth a look. Right, yeah, I'll get cracked on. What's this clicker thing? Not work now. I bet you anything don't work when I press it. Right, yeah, I'll get everything in where it needs to be. Finish my cup of tea. You should always have a cup of tea before you start a job. And see you in a minute. I told you it won't work. Look. Right, one of the first things you need to check before you do it, you strip your engine down, or even before you go through the hassle of stripping it down, you get you've got to strip it down. You've got to get the pistons out. Is your gap on your rings, and it's really simple to do. If you look in the manual, where are we? Each ring has got its own gap, specific gap settings. So you need to check that, and the easiest way to check that is to, it's a bit awkward one-handed. Obviously do it with a brand new ring. It's what you need your feeler gauge for. And get your piston and push it down to and level it. Make sure it's level. I'll move that book out of the way. Might be able to see a bit of that. Make sure your piston's level, and then you need to do this with each individual piston. Get your feeler gauge that I've put down. Put that book on it. Oh, that one will do just for demonstration purposes. This one's a bit crappy. It's what's going in the bin, really. And I think it's sorry, I'm waving you about all over the place. So this is the top ring, the compression ring. 0.014 to 0.019 in old money. And then you find your gap, and you get your feeler gauge set up. And yeah, if your feeler gauge is between them two specs, then you're all right.
if the gap's too close, then you can just file it down carefully a little bit to widen the gap out. If the gap's too wide, way too wide, you need to check it, ideally in 3 positions. So you'll push it down that far, you'll push it down to the middle, then push it down to the bottom, or not all the way to the bottom, as far down as the piston rings go, basically, and check it on each ring. If it's oversized and that gap's wrong, your cylinder needs reboring or re-sleeve. I'm not sure if you can re-sleeve these edges. It's not something I've ever looked into, to be honest. Yeah, check that's all right all the way down. If that's all right, good to go. Give it a quick hone. I was going to film it. What I did is bear with us a second. Right, I honed the cylinders out using this. This is a Sealy honing tool, I think. And I've honed them. You can't really see very well in this picture, but they're done fine. And then I was just going to do a little demonstration one on the camera. But what I did is I pushed it through. You have to be careful. Don't push it all the way through, because you see the casting down the bottom there. If you hit that happens. See, it's took a couple of chunks out. So yeah, and then what I realised is I brought these from Bearmac actually. They're riveted on. So I need to try and get them rivets out and see if I can get some little nuts and bolts that'll fit through there, and get some new stones on it. Yeah. But there's plenty of videos out there on YouTube that go into great detail on honing cylinders, a lot more detail than I'd go into. So I'd recommend going and watching one of them. Obviously, check that your block's level. You know what I mean? Get the straight edge on there, feeler gauge. Check that's all right. This block has got quite a lot of staining on there, and they're even staining where hot spot's been. You can't feel any of it, which is the key thing. I'd guess that the hot spot has come loose there, and it has tapped up and down a bit, just enough to stain it, but it's not. There's absolutely. I've had the feeler gauge around there with the straight edge on and everything, and you can't feel anything, can't see anything with the gauge on it. So yeah, I'm happy at that. Right, let's get this crankshaft in. It's enough of me rattling on. Right, so first job, obviously, got your new rings. These are new bearings. Engine parts. See how they go. Everything's apparently they are really good quality. I've never actually used these ones before, but apparently they are really good, so we'll stick them in. Right, these come extremely well packaged. You can't get in there, you need a Stanley blade to get in there. Right, I'll get one out. Right, cleanliness is key on this job, absolutely key. Use a lot of brake cleaner. One bit of grit in there will bugger up your whole bearing, crankshaft and everything, so make sure it's clean. Yeah, and clean these down as well, because they come with a like an oil coating on them, stop them from rusting. And make sure they're spotlessly clean. You can't put these in the wrong way, really. If you look, that groove in there, sorry, let me double check you can actually see. Yeah, the groove in there is offset from the centre, and so the hole's there. So literally slot that in, and you've got that little notch there that goes in, so you can't really get it the wrong way around. Slot that in, make sure it's sitting flush, and then the same with the other two. I'll keep this video as short as I can, but I want to try and get as much as much detail in there as I can without being super stupidly boring. Obviously, slots on. Brake cleaner is a must on this. I buy this in like £20 a tub. And you go through loads of it, so absolutely loads of it. Right. Yeah, like I said, I apologise if not getting any of this into shot because I'm not an expert cameraman. Make sure they're pushed down. And cleaned. And sitting nice. Right, and this is where your engine assembly lube comes in. Figure out how to get it out of the tub. Oh, for God's sake. Everything's packaged to death. Right, finally. Screw that. Yeah, don't see how you can see how thick it is. Don't be tight with it. Plenty on there. Really sticky, stringy stuff. That's why if you're going to be any length of time with the engine sat there, all these new components in, use this stuff because it doesn't run off. Oil will. Although don't use it on the piston rings because you want your piston rings to bed in, and obviously if you've got too much lubricant on them they don't bed in. Right, where's my rag gone? There. Right, that's that. Next thing's I should have done it first really. Main oil seal on the crank. Right, the crankshaft comes as two parts really. You've got your spring, which at 40 sometimes you can unlock them. That one's not going to be, but I don't really want to stress it too much. Take that nut out of there. So, right, there it goes, it's unlocked itself now. Fiddly little gits they are. Well, get on there. Make sure you don't stretch that open too wide. Right. And then your oil seal itself, this splits. Now you only want to open it up just wide enough to slide it over, and then get your spring sat in the gap. Like so. Yeah. Just like that. Right, that's where it's going. Right. Once you've got that in there, you can drop your crank in, making sure your oil seal sits in its groove, and making sure that the rings don't spin round like that one just did. That one's in square, that one's in square. And the oil seal is in there. Happy days. Right. Plenty of assembly lube on. It's not expensive stuff, this. I think it was like £6 a bottle or something. And yeah, you could do a couple of engines with one bottle of it. So, and then you need to try and get your you got your thrust washers. Plus 5 thrust washers. Now it's got, you'll notice there's two surfaces, shiny, coated. According to the Haynes manual, the coated surface goes to the inside. So let's go down this side then first. That just spins straight round there like that. Try and get this side in, and it should just spin right round like that. Make sure it's sat in square. And then your bearing caps. Obviously there's 3 of them, it's a 3 bearing engine. So, same deal as before, clean everything up. What I'll do, I'll clean everything up, save showing it again, and then I'll stick them on. Right, I've just realised what I've done wrong there. Anybody watching will correct me on it, that knows what they're doing. Going by the Haynes manual, it's not so clear. These thrust washers, the plated surface goes against the crankshaft. My manual says it goes in, but it doesn't. That plated surface, them grooves face outwards. Also, when I said it earlier, I was thinking, no, that's not right. But it's what the manual says. But that's why you should always double check. I've built several of these, and I know it, but I still went by the manual. And the manual, it's the way it describes it. When you read it back, it's you realise that it's actually describing it wrong. Getting them out again is a bit of a pain. Right, there, get that one out, take that one out, put that there. Slide the crankshaft over a bit, gives you room to slide that one in. Yeah, plated surface goes against the crankshaft. Push that back up, give that a wipe. Now, don't underestimate the importance of cleanliness. One bit of grit is enough to destroy your crankshaft and the bearings. Yeah, grooves against the crankshaft. I should have known better. If I was any good at editing videos, I'd edit it out like everyone else does, but you get warts and all with me. and trying to get them to go in, the slippery little buggers once they're covered in lubricants, easier said than done. Make sure that's all the way up. Oh, I slotted straight in earlier. Right, bear with us a sec. Right, they're back in. Yeah, so I put it in and the whole time I was doing it, I was thinking it's not right. It's not right. So, make sure they're in and make sure they're sat flush where they should be. They're not sticking up, either end, perfectly level. Oil seals where it needs to be. You might get a little screwdriver. Might just get in there and just make sure that oil seal's pushed up, obviously. Not twisted in any way. And all sat good. And then you've got your bearing caps. These are they're numbered, and you can't really go wrong with them, to be honest. They've got locating dowels in there that fit in, but they're numbered. Obviously, that's number 2, number 1, number 2, number 3. Also, the middle one, being a 3 bearing engine, it's only got 3 of them. This middle one is bigger than number 1. Number 2 is bigger than number 1. Plenty of lubricant on there. Got your bits for your locating dowels. That should pretty much slot straight on. Then screw them down. Number 1, this stuff takes somebody going out at 2. Plenty on there. That's that one down. What you should need to do as well, actually, is check for your end float on your crank. There's not a lot of leeway with the end float. This, I don't even need to measure it, I know there's nothing there at all. There's no end float on it at all. No, it shouldn't be with fresh bearings in, but obviously if you've put fresh bearings in and you've got end float, then your crank's worn. Right, now the flywheel end is where you need your T seals, or your L seals, whatever you want to call them. I've seen them called both. And these obviously slot in there, like so. Now these can be little buggers to get in. To get in there, you're better off using some cards or something. I'll show you what I've got in a minute. Right, let me get the tools ready and I'll show you. Right, I just want to show you this. I've got another set with these cork T-seals in, and I'm going to use them because there is no way on this planet that is not going to fit in that little groove. That is a proper crap quality seal, that. So I'm going to go with the cork ones. People say, oh yeah, you should use the rubber ones, the better and all this lot, but the cork ones has worked perfectly fine for decades. So yeah, I'll go with them ones. Right, what I tend to do is just give them just an ever so slight smearing of oil. You don't want to lather them, just a slight smearing of oil. And then just wipe the excess off. It just helps them slide in just that little bit easier. The cork ones go in a lot easier than the rubber ones as well. The rubber ones have to compress a lot, so especially when they're crap like that. That is horrendous. And that is a Bear Mag. Come out of the Bear Mag kit. Or did it? No, it didn't. That actually came out of a Britpart kit, unsurprisingly. And you've got to try and now get that seal in there, so this is where this comes in handy. I can only find one of them. So you can use your bank card, Tesco club card. That's about all it's good for. Just a little rubber mallet just to gently tap it down. That's why I put oil on it, just lubricates it that little bit. Helps it slide down that little bit easier. And then just gently literally millimetre at a time. Until it's down enough to get the bolts in, and then you can there we go, it's going down easy now. A little bit more. Right. Size socket have I got on there? Size socket have I got on? 19. Oh. I can't remember what size big socket it is. Right. See, that's not going to fit in there. You bugger. So that'll do for now. So really take your time, just a little bit at a time. Also checking that that main oil seal in there stays in place.
Well, I'm not very organised this morning. It is a Saturday, so surely I can be forgiven. See if I can get, I'll get this other socket set out. See, there we go, 21. Right, make sure you flush. And this is where you hope and pray that your crank glides round smooth as it should. That's lovely, that. That is lovely. That feels perfect. Absolutely perfect. You shouldn't hear a sound. You literally should not hear a sound from it. It should go. You'll have a little bit of resistance from the oil because it's surprisingly thick, but you shouldn't have any notchiness, no grating. It should just be perfectly smooth. And with no, absolutely zero end float on there. Perfect. Right, then you torque them down according to the book. Let me just double check with this book of lies. Where are we? Torque wrench settings. Main bearing cap bolts. 100 pound-feet or 138 newton meters. Torque them down. It's good to go. Well, I usually torque, go from the middle out. Makes sense to me. There's nothing in the book that specifies what order. But what I'll do is I'll torque one down, spin it, make sure it's still spinning all right. Torque the next one, spin it. Because obviously, then you can, if you're going to get one that's going to trap it, you know which one it is. So yeah, I'll torque them down. I'll not film it because I'm going to have to get my kid in here, and don't like being on camera. I'm going to have to get him to hold the engine stand still. It's 100, isn't it? There we go. Right, torque these down. Come back to you. Right, that's it. That is your crank in. Spins perfectly. Yeah, I had to get my kid in just to hold it still while I was talking because it tends to roll around the garage. Last job's just to trim them bits of gasket off flush there. Yeah, remember them frost washers. Plated surface, the copper plated surface goes against the crankshaft because that's the bit that's obviously making contact and spinning. That's the moving part that makes contact with it. Oh, it spins beautifully, that does. It's so satisfying, that. Not a single sound. Yeah, then you can start dropping your pistons in. I'll do that on the next video. The pistons and the oil pump. Because this video is getting quite long now. I'm going to try and keep it short. Mainly due to me being extremely unorganised this morning. I try not to work Saturdays if I can help it. I'm trying to work weekends at all if I can help it. But because of delays on deliveries and stuff like that, I'm a bit behind, so yeah, needs must. Right, as always, thanks for watching. Give us a like and subscribe, and check us out on Instagram at CSM_retro_restorations. And yeah, let us know if you want me to, if you want me to do the full video on the timing again. I did, like I said, I did one. There's a video on my channel already. It's about an hour long. Goes into full detail of it. But yeah, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that. Let us know if you have any other suggestions on things I do. Like I says, sorry, I'm waffling on again. I'm not a Land Rover expert. I'm not an engine expert. I've built a few. I've learnt a few tricks and how to do things and all that lot. But as you saw with the thrust washers, you still get things wrong. I should have known to go with my head what I was thinking and not what I was reading in the manual. And it's a Haynes manual as well. When you reread it, it makes sense. But just skimming over it, so I always make sure that you read things properly. Just skimming over it, it said do it the other way around. That's why I rechecked it, and I'm like, no, I know it's the other way around. Yeah. Thanks for watching. See you soon.